On this week's episode of What the Fuck Did We Read?
An
Um,
intellectual, folks,
the
as not
first,
evidenced by any word that comes out of her mouth.
because cat
Anyways,
ladies wanna have fun.
she makes her own prophecy.
It just fucking stopped because it's fucking weird.
He has no boundaries but all the audacity.
I was like, nah, bro, I'm out.
Come in. The back door's open.
So we've been on quite a journey lately. I know that we had great intentions, with like fall and Halloween themed October, and now we're coming into a brand new month. Hello, welcome to November. And it was supposed to be double stuffed November. It still is. We're still double stuffed November, don't get me wrong. But I feel like our books and the podcast has taken on its own entity right now and its own
What a word choice.
it's taken on its own theme. So, on this week's episode of What the Fuck Did We Read? We bring to you Stuffed and Double Stuffed by Sylvia Morrow. I think
Yeah.
that's just our new brand at this point because it's like a revolving door. And I've already started to read
But
the
we
book
haven't read
for
about
our
a revolving
next.
door.
No, but I've already started to read our book for the next one because I'm trying to get ahead because I've been really behind in my life. And it's already seemingly on the same theme. So buckle up, you're welcome. I
Yeah.
apologize. It's not the last two were my fault. This one and the next one is Crystal's fault. So you're welcome.
Here's the thing. Okay, listen. Considering the books that we have on the list, Ariel texted me last night saying basically it's like October didn't end. But here's the thing. I feel that November is its own brand of crazy. And like I was more scared in October than I am coming into November. Okay. I'm
November's
just
more like what the fuck.
honestly, I feel like that's how it was last year for November.
Yeah, a little
Um,
bit.
cause yeah, cause why not? Listen, at least I didn't bring the stuff by the Were turkey, which I almost brought to the table. It has been on a thing. But also, yes, while this was my choice, just know this was also on the list for like a year. And we got it when we were on like that big sentient kick, which
Yep.
we go like through phases with it as it is. So like, here we go.
Hmm.
And yeah, welcome to Double Stuff November. You're welcome. And we are going to start off with double stuffing in that we are giving you a 2-for-1 special where I am
Oh
doing a
yeah.
book and Ariel is doing the second book. It's a double feature. We are double
We're
stuffing your
just
ears.
double everything today.
Double the pleasure, double the fun.
We are double mint gum today.
If anyone gets that, oh God, thank you. If not, I know that our demographic is weirdly a lot younger than we are.
Oh, really? Oh,
A
well,
big a big part of our demographic is like the 18 to 24 range.
well,
You're welcome.
you're welcome.
So,
You can learn now. Just kidding.
we are all about education on this
So,
podcast.
okay, speaking of demographic and
Oh
whatever,
God.
I think that this particular topic I'm about to delve into spans all demographics.
Are we gonna get
Um,
canceled in about 3 seconds?
I mean, if we're not on the verge of being canceled at all times, are we doing it right? But so we've stated before, we record a little bit ahead of time because we're not magic and we have real jobs and we're both single moms and we can't turn out an episode in less than 12 hours. So this is being recorded on Taylor Swift's first weekend back touring in the United States for her Eras tour. And I
Listen, her
just,
TikTok was amazing.
yes. And can we get a little bit of love and hype for that new Reputation outfit? Can we just have a moment here?
Listen, I just need you all to know we
What
worship
that
Taylor Swift
in Taylor we trust.
in a healthy way.
Yeah, we're not one of those people that like sit here and make all the prophecies and stuff, but like we enjoy.
She makes her own prophecy.
But like I genuinely think that she enjoys toying with everyone so
Oh,
bad.
110% because she has not changed this reputation outfit the entire tour to the
No.
point that
And
it is.
now she's changed it now. And that smirk when she came out and everyone lost their damn shit. Oh boy. Yeah.
Love that woman. I mean, honestly, if anybody has ever listened to a single episode of our podcast, we talk about Taylor a lot.
We even had a whole episode dedicated.
I even made a song. Well, Ariel made the song and I just remixed it for you guys. I really flexed my
Poorly.
musical remixing.
No,
Like,
mine was poorly.
I think we did a great job. Are you kidding me? I thought it was fantastic.
Anywho, yeah, so we
And
are very
listen, she
excited.
speaks for all of the cat ladies out there.
Yep, and I am a cat lady. I'm not a
I was a
childless cat lady, but I'm a cat lady. And so I do the New York Times puzzles in the morning in the app. So I like my Wordle and my little crossword and stuff.
she's an
Um,
intellectual, folks,
the
as not
first,
evidenced by any word that comes out of her mouth
no,
usually.
absolutely not. But the
She's smart.
first, the first question in the crossword was I I was like, this is fantastic. It was like, how did Taylor Swift sign off on her Kamala endorsement? And it was
Oh,
Cat Lady.
really? Oh
Yeah.
my
I
God,
was like,
that's so
yeah.
funny. That's so funny.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes, we are not childless cat ladies, but we
No.
like cats.
Crystal would be a cat lady, but we're not going to talk about it right now.
No. I'm a cat lady at heart.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah,
So,
so stuffed.
yeah. So,
Sentient.
yeah. I listen, I just want to always add fun to the podcast. And
Because girls
by
just want to have fun. Because cat
anyways,
ladies want to have fun.
God, we're starting November fucking strong, folks. have we have Taylor talk, we have random singing, we have I don't even know, we have I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, what we do have though is this book. And so listen, it's
Is a
called Stuffed.
pillow. We do have a pillow.
We do yes. So our FMC does not like people. And it is so obvious throughout this entire book that she absolutely has OCD. Like 110%.
I
As
think it
well
goes
as
beyond the
oh, it is.
scope of OCD.
Yeah, it was a lot. As well as an aversion to humans, but she does not like sweat, she does not like grime and people. When she gets back to her apartment after walking home from work, she is greeted by her landlord Jimmy, who by the way is a super fucking creep. And even though rent is not due for 5 days, Jimmy just wants to remind her.
And that if she doesn't have it, he could make an arrangement with her.
He is a scumbag and I hate him. There's a lot. There's a lot. She goes into her apartment, slams the door, and then she's going to take a very hot shower where she can scrub herself with antibacterial soap. When she's all clean, she's going to sit down and watch some anime, which she loves. And the main character in the anime she's watching is just Tuxedo Mask, by the way. I didn't know who it was at first until she started discussing more and more about it. I was like, this is Sailor Moon. I should have worn my Sailor Moon shirt.
Yeah, honestly,
That was a missed opportunity.
I had suspicions, but I didn't fully get it until Halloween.
Yeah.
That was when
I
I was
felt,
like, okay, definite.
yeah.
I
I
had
felt this.
suspicions, but
Yeah. I felt this on a personal level though, because I love that show and I
well,
did
yeah.
have a gigantic crush on Tuxedo Mask as a kid. But I did not have a crush on him to the extent that Anne does, which Anne is her name, by the way. Again, though, Anne does not like people aside from her, small amount of family and her online friends. Dating, though, makes her hoo-ha dry up at the thought. And I was like, oh, we're gonna go with hoo-ha. Great. She is watching this
There was
anime.
another weird term at one point too, and I was like, okay.
As a heads up, everybody, she's a virgin, and it's very obvious in the way that she speaks. Can put that out there. As she is watching anime, she grabs her pillow and puts it between her legs, and it is the perfect firmness, soft enough to lay her head on at night, but firm enough to do the naughty things that she likes to do. With her perfect pillow between her legs and her fictional boyfriend on the TV, everything is just right in the world, and she grinds against her pillow until she comes, and now she does something that I think is disgusting. And I feel like it kind of contradicts what she says about germs. And she still sleeps on this pillow. She does not care that it is slightly moist. But whatever. She'll just change the
It's
case
her
tomorrow. And
germs, though.
here's the thing, though. Changing the pillowcase does not change what is absorbed into this pillow. You can still wash the pillowcase all you want. Your cum is still going to be inside this pillow. Okay?
Yeah, it's pretty
Speaking
gross.
of pillow, we get chapters in the pillow point of view, and it is labeled pillow. And he is honestly a little creepy. And
A
we learn
little?
that he was part of something alive once. He was part of a phoenix, but the phoenix died of sadness because it was in love with a goose and the goose got cooked and it was the whole thing. Um Anyways, and the feather fell off of the phoenix, and the feather got put into pillows with the goose down, and that is how he became. And of course, a phoenix can't come back from one feather alone because, there's no bird left, there's no body, and he would have only been a feather and a pillow at the same time. He would have just been those two things if it wasn't for the passion that she projected onto him. It added a bit of a spark. So the little flicker of life, it was just enough to give him awareness over time. And he is slowly building up more life, more mass, and more energy for her because this man pillow thing is absolutely in love with Anne. How does he do this, you might ask?
I'm in love with a psycho.
Well, they're both psychos. So.
Yeah.
But you may be asking to yourself, how? How is he building up this life? It can't just be from all the cum. It's not, by the way. Sorry.
Nope, nope, it's not. Crystal, why don't you tell us how he's
Of
building up
course,
all this life force?
he absorbs life force, and at the moment, it's just little flies landing on him, and he just absorbs them. And someday,
So,
he will.
I'm sorry, he kills he unalives other beings to steal their life force and
Uh-huh.
sucks it into himself to grow himself?
I mean, he's a pillow. He doesn't know right and wrong.
And we're not thinking any of this is super creepy.
I mean, I thought he was creepy from the get go, but okay.
The second this storyline started, I was like, nah, bro, I'm out. Did I continue anyways because we were doing this for the podcast? Yes. Did I want to? Absolutely not. For the record.
But listen, someday he will have enough life to turn himself into a creature that Anne could love. It's wild, by the
No
way.
thanks.
At work the next day, Anne is so happy that it is 5 p.m. and she can go home. It was the worst day. There were so many meetings with so many people, and she just wants to go home and take a shower and relax. As she's packing up at work, a voice interrupts her thought, saying, "Hey there, little Miss Grumpy. First of all, fuck that shit." And it's this dude named Todd. He has been asking her out forever, and she always tells him no. And of course, he does the thing that she does not like, which is touch
Take a
her.
fucking hint, buddy.
You would think so. But she reiterates again, I am not interested. I have told you. I am here to work, not to date. Please respect that. Which honestly, I'm so glad that she set these boundaries. Todd, by the way, does not fucking understand this. And he tells her, you can do both, Annie Banani, which is disgusting, by the way. In fact, I think it might.
Where's the boundary? I don't see the boundary. Where's the boundary? I don't see it there.
He has no boundaries but all the audacity. He's like, it might even help your work to experience a little romance. Relax. Let your mind free to new ideas. No. Todd, just no, no. She tells him no and walks out the door on her way home.
She's trying to get by him, but he's kind of being insistent and he goes to grab her and it snags her purse and her bag spills out everywhere. And she's grumbly trying to pick it all up so she can get the fuck away from him. And she finally quickly thinks she has everything and she manages to get out the door.
On her way home, her murderous impulses only increase. I mean, she doesn't want to actually kill anybody, but she does want people to fall in dog shit and scrape their knee. I wouldn't quell those murderous impulses because I'd be like, this person touched me, they can fucking die. So she is just still stressed out. Of course, there are times when she's walking home that there is a group of teenagers that stand on the corner of her block that catcall her. And this same thing happened again today. But of course, this time, one of them goes up close to her and touches her. And she just screams, "Do not touch me." And they say, "Damn, crazy bitch." Which, listen, I feel like I would also scream, "Do not touch me," because that is really the only surefire way to get people to stop touching you. And that's like if a man comes up to you and like starts talking to you, you know what you should just do? Scream. And
Any
then they'll go
man
away.
ever.
Any man ever. Yep. And then she runs into her apartment. Pillow can see that she had a hard day, and he hates seeing her like this. He wants to hold her, ask her what's wrong, but he can't. He's not strong enough. But then he
He
hears a
needs
knock at
more
her door.
flies.
He does. He hears a knock at her door, and it's fucking Todd, by the way. He found her wallet when she dropped her stuff at work, and thankfully, it had her ID in it, so he could bring it to her. This man did the most unhinged shit. And he just walks into her house. And she tells him all the time, like, hey, no. And he's like, oh, but I need to use the bathroom. And
And then just proceeds to look around her
it just
bedroom
like
like that's not
walks
even the
around,
bathroom.
right? And says that's not a good idea. He makes her way into her bedroom and she's consistently telling him to get out. And Pillow can sense that this man is raising her alarms. It's also raising his alarms too. And then Todd sits on the bed and he pats the pillow, which now we're touching things, which means that and when his hand lands on him, Pillow sucks the life force out of him. Of course, it's much more difficult than with bugs
To
because
drain a
Todd
fucking
is,
human.
yeah, because he's struggling a bit more, but he can see Todd's skin drying out, becoming thinner, and losing the glow of youth. And Anna's freaking the fuck out, which I mean, I would as well. Like, if you see this man just like have shit. And she calls the ambulance, and she does manage to like rip him off the pillow. Like, she's like grabbing him, which that should have been a sign that something was up with that, but okay. So he's not dead, but
Especially your sex pillow.
yeah, but he is not going to be hurting Anne anytime soon. But all Anne can think of is that Anne is just unaware he is doing something incredible inside of him and that tomorrow they will be together. And I feel like I felt like this was when Ariel texted me, but apparently it was earlier. I was like, I felt like this was when Ariel texted me and said there's some evil undertones in this book. And in reality, there really is. And this is a wild book. Wild choices were made.
Oh, I did text you towards the end. It
Oh,
was just like an all-encompassing, like, what the
gotcha.
fuck? Yeah, it was like, what the actual fuck? Yeah, when this happened, I was like, okay, no, thank you.
Everybody stares at Anne all day at work. And of course, they all
Because
know
they
like
know
something
something happened.
happened to Todd, but like
She was involved somehow.
she also doesn't even know how because she didn't tell these people what happened and she actually doesn't even really know what happened. Like one second he was on her bed being a creep and the next he was halfway to being a
He
corpse.
was like an old man.
Right? It's crazy. And she stops by the market on the way home to grab some comfort foods. And as soon as she opens the door to her apartment, she can sense that something is just off. And there is a feeling in the air that something is wrong. And she goes to her bedroom and just sees something horrible pulsing and stretching on her bed. What the actual fuck? Like, I would get the fuck out of there. Pillow can see Anne in the doorway, shocked. And he can understand why she is upset because he is not fully formed yet. She's not supposed to be home yet. His chest and arms and head are just simply pillows. They aren't even firm or attractive pillows at the moment. All of it to say he looks like a goddamn monster. He rasps out, please don't be afraid. Please, I won't harm you. Please forgive me for my appearance. I shall fix it shortly. And Anne blinks and says, oh, okay then. And then she faints, which is a fair reaction.
I mean,
Pillow thinks it's time to make a functioning body so he can help her. He has no idea about emergency medical education, so he's just gonna like sit next to her as he builds himself. Anne is out for a long time and he is able to finish his shape. However, his details are not completed. When she does wake up, Pillow says, hello again, welcome back. And Anne just thinks, what the hell is this? Like, is this the thing from before? Because now it's more formed. She asks, what are you? I'm the skin of a killer, Bella. Sorry.
like, come on.
I know what you are. Say it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is not Twilight.
Oh, she would
um,
probably be less creepy, weirdly
yeah.
enough.
It responds, well, that's complicated. The simple answer, I suppose, would be that I am your pillow, your favorite pillow. I've just changed a bit. Anne says, no shit, what are you doing here?
Oh
It
shit.
responds that it upgraded itself today. He's not complete. Building a person takes a lot of detailed work. It's like, I built myself for you. You should decide on my final form. And that he has been in love with her for years.
He
Anne thinks
does.
this is a bit intense, which absolutely this is intense. And either she's going insane or she has some kind of pillow monster who's moving way too fast in this relationship department. She asks what she can do to help. And Pillow responds that, just tell me what your ideal man would be. I want everything you desire. Anne says, that's a lot I hope you understand. Like, I don't exactly like people. Pillow says, I know. And I know you. And that's why you must understand that I am not like them. I am not flesh and blood. When you touch me, there will be no sweat, no germs, nothing to fear. I'll only appear how you want me to. I'll only touch you how you want me to. I'll never make you sick, never betray you or insult you. I'll never hurt you. I'm yours, sir. He says the good things, except he's a pillow. Do you want to know what she's going to turn him into? Tuxedo Mask.
Basically.
And that's what she does. And she's
Without the
excited because
mask.
obviously this is her crush. And Anne asks how long he's been sentient because she's definitely done stuff to him. And he says that he's been sentient for quite a while. And if you're wondering whether I've been aware you've ground your gorgeous cunt against me, the answer is yes. Sir, excuse me.
Was a little
Um,
forward.
yeah, Anne is embarrassed, but he's like, don't be. It was beautiful. You brought me to life. I am here to serve you. Anne knows that she should probably be afraid, but apparently this thing is irresistible to her. And she's
Be
like, I don't
afraid.
know.
Be very afraid.
And she's like, I don't know what it is about you. And he just responds, I'm simply one hell of a pillow. So now they're going to decide where to go from here. But he insists that they can just do whatever she wants. Originally he came off very strong because he really does want to fuck her. And he has made this very, very clear to her, but they don't have to. He also does admit to having a fondness for the hentai she watches, which also embarrasses her. He insists that she should not be embarrassed. She just has made him so happy. And, you know, so Anne suggests that they just hold hands for a while. So they do. And they determine that they need to come up with a name for him because she can't just call him Pillow forever. She also realizes that she did not build his dick, or as she calls it, a disco stick, a la Lady Gaga. They decide on Ori because it sounds a little bit like pillow in French if you mangle the words a lot, but she hasn't taken French in a very long time, so she could be just like fucking around. But that's what he's going to be called. All of a sudden, as he's laughing, his head flops forward and he realizes that he needs more power. That being both pillow and man is fine, but he may have been weighted a little too heavily on the pillow side. So basically, he needs to get life from people and explains this to her. And this is when she realizes that's what happened to Todd and tells him that she knows other creeps and a lot of them and asks if he could just take a little bit at a time and it doesn't have to be a whole bunch. And Ori says that he can take very small amounts. He hasn't tried it on a person before, but insects are really small, so he just thinks that he could probably take a tiny bit of humans. And then Anne does the creepiest thing, and she grins really wide, rubs her hands together, and then cackles and says, Let's go for a walk. Anne insists that she's not a cruel person, she just doesn't like people, especially people who grab her without permission, which is a fair thing, but she is leading him to where those teenagers catcall her, and they've grabbed her before in the past, and she explains to Ori that they're just huge jerks and they deserve it anyways. Bitch, what? They get there, and of course, these stupid teenage boys are like, Girl, when did you get a man? How about you get a real man? And Anne's silent as they walk through the group and they touch her, which is so fucking wild to me that they're just like touching her
Yeah,
face.
that's
It's
just
so
weird.
weird, and Ori is like, No one touches my woman. Like, but me. And he subtly drags his fingers across their exposed hands and arms, just like lightly. And like they're all silent and confused, all these men, but whatever. But they make it through and they go back to her apartment, Ori and Anne. And as soon as they get inside, she goes into the bathroom and starts scrubbing her face from their touches. The mission ended up being a success, and Anne decides that she wants to take him up on his earlier offer. and that it's time she finally
Tis
experiences it is time. Experiences real touch. She thinks it's weird to feel this so soon, but she doesn't care. This whole thing is fucking weird as hell. So he wants to touch her everywhere. So he does. And he walks her to the bed, lays her on her back. She talks about how his skin doesn't feel like skin because it feels like fabric. No fucking shit. He's a goddamn pillow. But
gross.
this is great. This is great for her because she doesn't have to worry about him feeling like skin, and she hates people and hates touch, and she just thinks that skin is so dirty. Yeah. As they kiss, we learn his mouth feels like satin, and all she can think about is how they did a really good job designing him. Bitch, you picked what he looked like. She starts to bring her hands to his pants, and then he says, "We need to talk." Nothing is wrong, but they need to complete his dick, which, duh. But then she realizes she has no idea what realistically she wants because she doesn't know anything about sex that isn't hentai or movies, which is fucking so crazy. She's seen dicks before, though, but she's always looked away because people. Anne decides on a 6-inch, like, thicker dick, and so his cock inflates. And it's less like a cock growing as it is a balloon inflating, but it's definitely not a balloon. And this just brought me back to when we did the balloon sentient animals. But, anyways, apparently it's very beautiful. But I will reiterate again, cocks are not beautiful. They are not good.
In Crystal's opinion.
Yes. I have seen a couple good looking dicks, but most of them are not great looking, and I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, but it is exactly as she described. And, she says that she should be able to sample the goods before deciding if they're satisfactory. She licks her finger and runs the tip down the length of him. And because this is new for him, he needs to take a minute. Plus, he wants to focus on her pleasure. He wants to make love to her and asks if they can. Well, Anne asks if they can kind of adjust his dick as they go because she wants to just, you know, make sure it's the perfect size while it's inside of her. He thinks this is brilliant, by the way. He then instructs her to take off her underwear and spread her legs for him and asks if he can taste her. And Anne says that would be great, actually, which is a fucking hilarious sentence. Then he eats her out. But of course, because he's still a pillow, his face is a little bit flattened as he does this, but all he does is fluff up his face, which I have questions after this as well.
Mm.
She decides that she is ready to go, but he wants her to actually express what she wants. He tells her that he needs to hear it. He has spent years of like wanting to be inside of her, and he needs her to tell him that he is allowed to be there. His entire existence is for her. He wants nothing more than her pleasure in everything. And he promises them to her if only she'll allow it. So she says, "Yes, please fuck me, Ori. I need it now." And all Anne can think of is, I am begging for a pillow to fuck me. What kind of fucking day is this? Which, fair thought.
I
This
mean,
has,
she fucks the pillow normally.
yeah,
I'm
but
just
it doesn't
saying.
talk back. So,
Just saying.
yeah, but this is a pillow man. Like, this is, I don't know. And this has to be the first time in history it's ever happened. And she is seriously about to lose her virginity to a living pillow. But this is also kind of awesome, and she's not going to complain. He fingers her to prepare her, and then he enters her, and it is a bit painful. So she asks if he can be smaller for a second, and that maybe it can go in smaller, and then, like, we'll see about getting bigger. So he does, and she just thinks this feels so good, and that this cock is like, it feels like an impossible combination of velvet, silk, and latex, which is a crazy combination. So they start to fuck, and then as they're doing that, she asks him to get bigger and deeper and go harder. She doesn't know that she can handle it, but she wants it. And he does all of that for her. I mean, being able to like adjust as you're fucking is kind of cool, actually. Like,
Yeah.
that is
Yes, that
pretty
part was
dope.
cool. Sure.
You got to find the little bits and pieces here, Ariel. Little bits and pieces, okay? He tells her to come for him, and when she finally does, he tells her that she is not done yet. He remembers the things she likes to watch, and he remembers the tentacles. And then he creates tentacles. So she's got one rubbing her clit, one with his dick in her vagina, and then a third one is nudging her ass. And she decides if she's going to be a tentacle fucker, she might as well go all the way. Come in. The back door's open, which is such a wild goddamn sentence. Anyways, but
Knock,
the feet,
knock.
right? But the of everything on her just makes her explode. And as soon as she is done, the tentacles snap out of existence, and Ori tells her that he's going to come. She tells him to fill her up. She assumes he can't get her pregnant, so this whole breeding kink thing would be all fine. But Ori says, "You don't understand." And when he pulls out and comes
You
on
don't
her, it's
you don't even know.
when he comes on her, it's feathers. He comes feathers. And I don't think you understand how much I fucking laughed my ass off when I read that part. Which, guess what? She also starts laughing. And he gets a little offended. She goes, "I'm not laughing at you." Because he is concerned that she thinks it's disgusting, and she's as disgusting. How could you think that I think you're disgusting? The feathers are so sweet. I laughed because of how much joy
Because
it brought me.
you clean them up.
Yeah, not because I was making fun of you. It's just another way you're perfect for me. It means you can never get me pregnant. And since I absolutely do not want to ever get knocked up, that's like a huge fucking plus. He comes feathers. It never stops being funny. So
You
then they're
don't
at a
even know.
rest.
I can make the feathers come.
Oh my god. Anyways, so then they're at a rescue shelter picking out a pet since Pillow, Ori, is not quite at the social level to go into the real world. So they kind of need a pet at home so he's not bored. And they're playing with the kitten, but the kitten kind of digs into the fabric and tears a small hole, and feathers float through the air. So probably a cat, not a great idea.
Even
They
though
end
she's
up just,
always wanted a cat.
yep, that sucks for her.
Shouldn't have a
She
pillow
can't,
boyfriend.
well, she can't be a childless cat lady now. She has a pillow boyfriend. That's what they should use. If you don't want to be a childless, if you don't want people to be childless cat ladies, give them pillow boyfriends.
That suck the life out of other people.
Yeah. Yep. Anyways, they end up deciding on a goldfish. Ori's home alone while Anne's at work, and the landlord knocks on the door, and he's just there to make sure that she doesn't have any more people living there because, we've got Ori living there now too.
Checking up on things.
Good Lord. And he sees that there's a fish and he goes, "Oh, now you got a pet. That means there's a pet fee." And they're like,
He just like barges his way in, and Ori's like, "What the
"I know.
fuck?"
It's a fish, Jimmy." And then this man pushes his way into the apartment to check to see if there's any more pets in this house. And he starts to head towards the bedroom, of course, to look underneath the bed. And,
Because there has to be more pets hiding. Duh.
right? Like, what the fuck? And Ori's like, "Fucking absolutely not." And he takes a step to follow him, but his legs give out. And he hasn't told Anne yet, but it appears that he needs to keep up his life force by feeding more often. And that those first few times were enough, briefly, but he needs regular maintenance. He can't eat food, they've discovered, so that's no help. And by the time that he can limp enough behind the landlord, Ori ends up picking the landlord up by the neck and drains the life force out of him slowly. But not, again, not to the point where he dies, just mostly. He goes into the stairwell and puts the landlord at the bottom of the stairs and like leans him up against the wall so that someone could eventually find him. When he returns back to the apartment, he feels a strange sensation on his wrist, and uh-oh, it's real flesh. It appears he took
Uh-oh, skettios.
too much life force, and he is starting to become more man than pillow, and Anna's not gonna like that. Anne comes home, and he asks Anne if she's hungry and if she wants to order any food, and Anne says, "I'm good. I had some pizza at work, so I'm stuffed." And he says the most lame thing ever, and is just, "Actually, I believe I'm the one that's stuffed." And that's the end of book one.
Oh, wow.
Ah!
How to follow that?
Actually,
Well,
I'm the one that's stuffed. Get the fuck out of here.
Double Stuffed, which is the second book, Double Stuffed takes place a couple months after Stuffed.
You thought
Ori,
book one was wild.
oh,
Just you buckle up and wait.
just wait. Yeah, just wait. Ori is waiting at the door when Anne comes home from work. He's excited and he wants to tell her that he discovered something online today, something called the Omegaverse. Anne laughs and tells him that they can talk about it after her shower. She just kind of laughs him off. Ori joins her for the shower, careful to stay out of the spray, of course. He helps her wash, and then when dried off and dressed, they snuggle on the sofa while Anne eats leftovers. When she's done, Anne tells Ori she thinks it's time to get out of the house. Being cooped up isn't a life for him. She needs to be strong and give him what he needs. They're going to the mall. He argues that she hates the mall.
No, thank you.
Yeah, right? No. She says that it will be good for both of them. So, to practice for their people filled excursion, they decide to stand out on their stoop and hand out candy to trick or treaters while in costume for Halloween. They are dressed as Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask. I just need everyone to know this.
The amount of times I've wanted to dress as Sailor Moon and then I remember that I am an adult. But I want to. Maybe I should, anyways.
Yes, absolutely. Being an adult means nothing to that.
Though, you know what? Who's your favorite Sailor Scout? Is it Sailor Moon?
Yeah.
Sailor Mars. Love that bitch.
One of
Do you
these
know how hard
times,
it is to find her shit anywhere?
one of these
Difficult.
times, we will have to do Halloween together, and we'll do.
Okay, next year, let's remember we should put it in a calendar and be like,
Yeah.
dress up for Halloween, you dumb bitches. For the whole month. Imagine if we could do it for the whole month of October.
Every time we record everything.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Anywho, they do well with their practice and head inside, loving each other in costume so much that things heat up. It's not long before Ori is shoving his fabric dick in Anne's mouth while she fingers herself. Because again, he's made of fabric. Just
Okay, but okay,
reiterating.
so here's my thing. If fabric gets wet,
And right, and he has to be careful in the shower. Isn't her mouth and like her vagina or anything wet?
thank
Right.
you.
I am
Thank
just
you.
right.
Yes.
A lot of things didn't make sense to me, but
To be fair, it is a pillow book. I don't know.
When the day comes for their mall excursion, they take the bus there. Neither of them are fans of the bus. Anne even
I
took
feel
the
ya.
yeah, Anne even took the day off work so that they wouldn't be going at a peak time. And they arrive at the mall.
I actively avoid them all now
Yeah, absolutely.
as an
Well, it
adult.
also helps that the mall is like 3.5 hours away from me, the closest one that's actually open
Perfect.
still. Yeah.
You literally live the dream.
Ori is overwhelmed with how big it is. That's what she said. They make their way to the pretzel stand close to the entrance to get Anne a pretzel, of course, needing massive amounts of hand sanitizer prior. They walk around checking everything out until Ori spots a make a friend store, which I'm assuming is basically a Build-A-Bear, and he insists
Yeah, I'm
they go
assuming a
inside.
lot of this is so that they don't get sued, like especially with the Sailor Moon stuff and then that.
Absolutely.
I get
Yep.
it.
Just to be careful.
We
Yeah.
all know.
Yeah. Ori picks out a goldfish and goes through the whole process, doing all the add-ons, even with Anne's sighs of how expensive this will be. Ori makes his wish on the brain, their version of a heart like Build-A-Bear, and adds it in. His wish was that Anne and their pet fish Carl, his only friend in life while Anne's at work, could live forever and be the happiest people. They check out and continue their way through the mall until Ori finds a hallway marked employees only. Apparently, he looked up the mall blueprints online, so he shows her to a storage room and tells her he's going to remove her pants now. He does, and then he goes down on her and pulls himself out and bends her over some boxes and starts to rail her from behind, growing his cock as he goes and then adding a tentacle to latch onto her clit. They come and get dressed and try to exit the room, only to find two security guards.
This
The guard,
part made it get weird too. And I was like, what is
it just
happening?
kept getting weirder and weirder and weirder. There was no turning back. That's why I said, welcome to this week's episode of What the Fuck Did We Read?
Listen,
Very
because
apt.
I had concerns for certain things at the beginning, and then those concerns ended up happening, and then I was like, why?
Yep. The guards force them back into the room and lock the door, telling them that they know what they were up to. And now they want their own show. Ori does not take this nicely. This is a threat to his Anne, and he does not take this well. He grabs the throat of one of the guards, draining him until he's nothing but dust at his feet. That escalated quickly.
I was like, holy shit, we're killing people now? What the
Yep,
hell?
full on. Yep. The other guard pulls out a taser and shoots Ori with it, but doesn't realize he's a pillow man So nothing happens. The guard then grabs Anne, and Ori's rage blinds him, and he drains that fucker too, pulling in way too much power, more than he can handle. He drops the guy mid drain because it's too much. But then he hears a loud noise and feels a burning, and there's a hole through his chest. The frail guard shot him with his gun. Ori seals up the hole and then forces himself to finish draining the guard so that he's a pile of dust too. When Anne comes out from hiding behind some boxes, she sees Ori and screams. She tells him, "His face! It's made of flesh!"
Oopsies. Do you remember in the last one where he mentioned he's casually accidentally got some skin? That's what happens when you drain
You
two
drink too
fucking
much.
people full of
Yep.
their shit.
Ori is so upset, begging Anne not to leave him, that he didn't mean for that to happen. He meant for the killings, mind you. Don't get that confused. He just didn't mean for his skin to turn flesh, his fabric.
Well, because we all know Anne does not like flesh.
Right. She doesn't like to touch people. Right. Anne seems confused though, but he tells her if he has skin, she won't want to touch him. She assures him that she loves him no matter what. Ori hurries her out of the room and away from the scene of the crime. They take the bus home. Once they're home, they shower off the day because, Ori can go in the water now. He doesn't even get messed up. And he can't even change his fabric to new clothes. So he's just naked. He can't just like, shoop, can't put on his tuxedo. Sad face.
That's
But
even one
then,
more reason to be worried that Anne won't like him.
but then his stomach growls, startling him.
Bitch, you're a human, you're hungry.
Ori is freaking the fuck out, worrying what all this means and how, oh my, he's gonna have to use the bathroom. How disgusting. Ugh. Anne rushes to him in his panic, and in doing so, accidentally catches Carl's fish tank with her towel, getting it snagged. Ori catches Anne as she falls, but the fish tank slides off the table and crashes to the floor. Ori screams, "Carl!" and grabs the flopping fish. He's like, "No, you're my only friend, please," as he holds Carl to his chest and just cries.
And this is when I
Then,
got worried.
yep, then Ori just stops, gets quiet, and gets down to the ground, putting Carl down. He tells Anne with a smile, because apparently we just flip-flopped. He tells Anne, "We're gonna get our beta, my little Omega."
And then
She's
I got
like,
real concerned.
she's like, "What the fuck?"
Same.
And then sees the fish start to grow. Ori pours his excess life force into Carl until Carl has enough to shift into a new form. Anne is still like, "What the fuck?" Like all of us. Ori tells her to give Carl time to finish forming. You remember what it was like with me? When Carl is finished, he's mostly human looking, but a little scaly fish like and an orangey golden glow to his skin. Ori is fabric again, so good for Ori. Ori leads Carl over to the sofa where they all sit, and Ori explains to Carl how he came to be. They eat. Carl tries salad, and Ori, thankfully, doesn't have to eat anything or use the bathroom.
God
And
forbid.
they head to bed, right? Carl taking the sofa for the night. Carl listens to Ori and Anne together in the bedroom, and he discovers that he himself has a cock. He's never had one before. He likes it.
Also, like, he used to listen to them bang before, and it
But
didn't matter.
right, it never bothered
And
him.
now, though,
Now
like,
it's making him feel some things. It's so weird.
hmm.
In the
And this is when
morning,
the book took a fucking wild left turn.
this is where it took a turn.
I was hoping, so hoping that it was going to be the stuffed animal fish and not the actual fish. And like, I would have been weirdly better with that. And then
Oh,
it turned out to
absolutely.
be the actual fish, Carl. And then I was like, oh, fuck me.
In the morning, they fit Carl with clothes Anne had overnighted. Carl finds Ori in private to talk about his hormones. He's feeling all these feelings and doesn't know how to control them. He knows Ori told him that sometimes humans mate for fun and not just for eggs, but he can't stop thinking about it. He even has this odd want for Ori to chase him, which is sort of like mating, right? Ori suggests that Carl join him on his morning walk the next day and they can talk more. But he wants to make it clear to Carl that Anne is Ori's.
God, Ori got so aggressive. And he just keeps getting aggressive.
He has some issues. The next day, they go for a walk while Anne goes back to work. Ori takes him to this quiet wooded park. He brings Carl to the edge of the tree line and tells him that he will chase him now. Ori says, "Swim, little fishy." And off Carl attempts to go. Well,
Because it
as much
should
as
be
he can,
noted,
awkwardly on new legs.
yeah, it should be noted that fish, when they want to mate, want to be chased.
Ori catches him in no time and tackles him flat, landing on top of Carl. Ori had spent his evening researching goldfish habits, so he knows all of this. And then he starts nibbling on Carl's ear and grinding against him to show Carl he's the dominant one as his alpha. Ori asks Carl if he wants Anne. Carl admits he does and that he's sorry, but he does. Ori tells him he won't be touching her without his permission. Carl comes in his pants.
Is his cum like
We have no idea. Why
I'm
did we get so much description on the feathers and we got nothing for Carl?
because we still get
That
more and
poor
more
fish.
feathers at this point.
Huh?
I'm curious. Is it eggs? Is it
And
salt
it's
water?
right. I got
Wait,
nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
fish poop? Probably not
And
fish
it's
poop.
really confusing exactly how long this quote morning unquote excursion took because they walk back right after and Anne is home from work cooking dinner. So,
Time doesn't exist.
no idea. Yeah. Ori firmly insists this time on explaining the Omegaverse to Anne and now Carl too. He explains all about how he is the alpha in their relationship and Anne is his omega and how Carl is here and is their beta. All of what this means for them.
Someone has been reading a little bit too much AO3.
Anne tests out a kiss on Carl. Carl kisses her back quite sloppily, I might add. He's very new to this.
He was just a fish.
He gave a fishy kiss. But then she's overwhelmed by the smell of dirt on Carl's clothes, from being tackled in the woods, and feels the need to clean herself. Stat. Good Lord.
Aggressively cleans
Yeah.
herself too. This shit is like
Yeah.
a bit much.
When she's done, she finds Carl in the kitchen feeling lost at not knowing how to cook or do much of anything. Sad boy. Anne announces that they all need to take things slow and that the boys need to figure themselves out as individuals before they come together. Come together.
Right now.
Before they come
Over
together.
me. Yeah.
They need to try hobbies, find jobs. So then we move to months later, and Carl has held a job as a lifeguard at a pool for a few weeks now. He learned to read and write and took lifeguard classes. Anne, Ori, and Carl were able to move to a bigger apartment now that they have three incomes. Anne got a new, better job that makes her happier, and Ori is working from home. They didn't exactly fully give Ori a spelled out version like everyone else, but pretty sure he's doing some online
Yeah, they
performing,
don't I
actual
assuming
performing.
so because which
Yeah, which
I'm
is the hints we got.
curious. I'm also curious how that's working with him with the coming of feathers thing.
So
Like
they said they had to improvise and he had to just edge himself and just like put fake cum.
that seems
So
like too
that's
much work.
that's why he said he was in pain all day because he didn't really come all
Um,
day
that's too much
because
work.
yeah. And Anne is still being stubborn about not acknowledging Carl and all their feelings towards one another. She's worried about Ori. Well, I mean, because he's fucking psychotic and has so many mood swings. And she's worried about ruining what she has with Ori and him feeling jealous. But she's also worried about making Carl a third wheel and that Carl deserves to have his own undivided love. One day, Carl has a rough time on the bus ride home from work, and some lady doesn't take his rejection well and attacks him. Ori suggests that he get a good soak in the tub to feel better since that often helps Carl. When Anne walks in saying she's had a horrible day and needs a shower right now, Ori thinks this might just be their chance and tells Carl to ask her and be extra pathetic about it. He goes in while she's in the shower and asks to join her, as Ori suggested, telling her his woes. And it works.
Manipulation. The key to every woman's heart.
He gets in and gets hard seeing her naked. She tries to laugh it off and tells him he's sweet for saying how beautiful she is. He says Ori told him humans were sweet between the legs, too, and asks her if he can try. She mumbles out an okay, and Carl drops to his knees. Again, that escalated quickly. Carl goes,
Yeah.
yeah. Carl goes to town, quickly finding out what Anne likes and what gets good reactions. When she's done, she says that they should get out and talk. Anne comes out of the bathroom, finds Ori in the bedroom, and starts to confess to Ori's excited face. But Carl comes out behind her and blurts out in great detail what happened. Like, great detail. Anne just groans and flops onto her bed and asks if everyone is just ready to try this three-way thing now, and if Ori is sure he's okay with it.
Are we just we're just gonna do it now? Like,
Yeah,
be
just
excited with your fish and pillow boyfriend.
weird.
So weird.
He assures Anne he is and suggests Anne and Carl go out on a date to spend time with each other. And when they return, they can be their little pack together as the three of them.
He is really on this Omegaverse
Yes.
situation.
Carl and Anne agree to go out together to the cat cafe the next day. Again, Ori does not do well with cats, so this will allow her to be near cats. So she's excited about it. The cat cafe isn't exactly a roaring success. Apparently, they all seem to forget that Carl was still a little bit
Fishy?
fish, and all the cats tried to eat him,
I'm sorry.
and they
It's
got
so
banned
fun.
from the cat cafe.
It's just so funny.
When Anne and Carl get back home, Ori is still out on his own errand. Anne pulls Carl onto the couch and straddles him. They kiss until Carl asks if they can mate, because, that's normal human talk. Anne says yes, so he carries her off to his bedroom. They get rid of Anne's clothes, and then Carl dives face first between her legs. When she's done, he lines himself up and slides in. He goes to town until he stops and says, "But wait, you didn't tell me where your eggs were, so I can fertilize them."
Now, if we remember correctly, this woman does not want that.
No, nope, not at all. She's stunned,
I would be
but
too.
tells him for humans it's inside them. He likes this and finishes his task just in time for the front door to open. Ori must be home. It should be noted that, remember, he's a little scaly, so he's textured. She likes that.
Textured for her pleasure.
Scaly. Ori finds them and grins like a Cheshire cat. Anne asks him for a word, and then she's all like, "What the fuck? You said you talked to him about human mating and reproduction and all that." Ori insists that he did. Carl comes in asking if he did something. Anne assures him all is well and explains that she was frustrated with Ori about the egg thing and for not telling Carl that she couldn't get pregnant, because of birth control. Ori then explains to the group what nodding is and his plans to attempt to achieve it, because it's his duty as the alpha.
I mean, he can shapeshift his penis, so like,
Right.
but I
So,
just,
yeah, they all leave that awkward conversation to go have dinner and then decide to watch a movie together because Anne is like, No, no, I'm good. Thanks. I'm all set." During the movie, Ori offers to massage Carl's shoulders. Weird, but he says okay. Then he gets lotion and has Carl take off his shirt to make it even better, going lower and lower down his back. Carl starts to get aroused, and Ori's all like, "Oh, look. Oh boy, you're tense. We should alleviate that discomfort." And then starts to work Carl's dick up and down. Anne has full on abandoned the movie at this point, and Anne has realized Ori's game and tells him, fine, she will let him try the nodding frickin' thing. the nodding plan, which involves double penetration. At first, she was like, no thanks. But she's like, fine, fine, fine. You bros want to be together? I will. It's hot for me. We'll do it. Ori cackles because, I mean, this was his plan all along. They go to Anne and Ori's bedroom. Ori tells Carl and Anne to both undress while he does the same. Ori tells Anne to sit on Carl's face to get her to come first, and then he gets the lube. Anne then straddles Carl's cock, and Ori makes himself smaller and joins from behind. Once they hit a comfortable groove, Ori grows himself inside and then tells Carl it's time for him to come. As he does, Ori grabs his face and kisses Carl as Ori grows his nut. Because, shape shifting and all that. Ori is ecstatic, but says they need more. They need to fill her. The fun is just beginning. Ori brings out tentacles that start massaging everywhere they're joined. One makes it to Carl's ass. All three of them having a grand time. Anne and Carl both come again, and Ori begins to shrink back, and Ori is delighted to see the mess of combined fluids flow out. Then he sprays his feathers all over the mess. Anne says she needs a bath. And they all chuckle and head to the bathroom. The next morning at breakfast, Ori asks that now that they have finished experimenting with the Omegaverse, what should they try next? So much to choose from. Anne says, let's just be normal for a bit. Ori asks when surprises can happen again. Anne says, let's just wait, at least not until Christmas. Let's save the surprises for at least until Christmas. So months later, it's now Christmas. Ori's excited and tells them he's been waiting for this and hands Carl and Anne envelopes. Inside are maps. Ori explains that he discovered the natural habitat of the phoenix, which is marked on the map. Ori says this is the way he will get Anne and Carl to be able to live forever with him. They just have to follow the map. And then the book ends. That's it. It just fucking stopped because it's fucking weird.
I'm curious if there will be a triple stuffed.
So there is a little note at the end talking about that. And the author said she just kind of wanted it to be open-ended like that so we could just imagine how it would go. But if she gets enough,
I don't like that.
And if she gets enough feedback that there's a want for it, she might think about it.
Fabulous. So, you're welcome. We are starting off November strong, folks.
It's just flowing right through.
So, who is your favorite character?
The one who ran the cat cafe. Who
I
banned them.
honestly didn't mind Carl. Yes, he's very naive. Like, I kind of liked him in a weird way. Who was your least favorite?
Everyone else.
I literally fucking hated Ori so much.
Yeah,
I
Ori,
hated him
for
so much.
sure.
I feel like I hated him more in the second book than I did in the first book. Like the first book, yeah, he had some like crazy tendencies, but I feel like the second book like really amplified it up and I disliked him quite a bit. So, okay. So, book 1 has a 3.1 on Amazon and a 2.5 on Goodreads. Book 2 has a 3.5 on Amazon and a 3.0 on Goodreads. So it looks like book 2 has the better rating.
What were your ratings, Crystal?
Well, I gave the first book a 2.5 and also the second book a 2.5. How about you?
The first one I gave a 2.5 and the second one I gave a 2.
The second one got weird.
Yeah, it
I
did.
mean, it was all weird, but like I feel like it just got weirder.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, cucumbers.
oh, good Lord. Honestly, though, like the use of how he can
I think that was the
make it
only
bigger
thing
and
that
like
kind
tend
of
to like that was kind of
yeah,
cool. Like, not gonna lie,
yeah,
that was kind of nifty. I
yeah.
just had questions as to, I had a lot of
I'm gonna
questions.
give it a cumulative 4.
I'll say that too. Here's my thing. But I thought he can't get wet.
I know, I know, I know.
And so I'm so confused.
Yeah.
And like, listen, I understand you don't like people, but this is probably not the way. This is not the way.
I don't like people, but I'm not gonna go find a fish in a pillow.
The fish thing set me over the edge. That sent me. I was like so concerned in the beginning of the book. I'm like, please don't be the fish. And I was like, you know what? maybe it will be like, I don't know, the stuffed animal version of the fish. No, it had to be the actual fish. And I was like, is this really where we're going with this? And that is really where we went with this book. Yeah, survivability.
Survivability. I
I
feel
would be
like
fine.
the pillow would have, I feel like I would have done something, and that pillow that obviously was unhinged probably would have given
No, no,
me.
no, no, because of how in love he is with you, he can't do that.
I feel like he would have
He
absorbed
got
me so
a,
that he could keep me forever.
you know what would have happened is he would have gone too far into the Omegaverse and just kept going with it, and you would be like, okay, can we chill, please, on the Omegaverse shit? And then he'd be like, what? And then yes, absorb you and then be with you forever.
Yeah,
Turn you into he would
I
take
would
you
be a
to the
pillow.
he would take you to the Phoenix feather. You would turn into a feather, and then you would also turn into a pillow, and then you could really be together forever. I mean, he already wants to turn them in, go bring them to the Phoenix so that they can be with him forever. So,
It's fucking wild. Fucking wild.
yeah, so that was wild, insane stuff.
All right, so next week we are going to be reading Eden by Xavier Neal, which is double stuffed. It is an MMF romance. From a very early age, I was warned to stay away from the Lawson brothers. It didn't matter that they weren't biological brothers or that one had been adopted on a guilt-driven whim. They considered one another family. They shared a bond like any other brothers would, except it ran much deeper, darker, dirtier. Oh boy. They had all the power, money, and hunger capable of destroying anyone who stood in their way as they trained to become icons the world watched every 4 years, bringing home gold medals. Little did anyone know there was only one thing the legend worshipped more than their beloved sport: me. So, yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a taboo double stuffed romance. So, if you're into that sort of thing, join us next week as we continue apparently the What the Fuck Did I Just Read saga. And make sure to keep reading.
And keep it smutty.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.